Mike, how do I study and learn that information? What's your answer to an agent that asks you that?
Go to the carrier, go to their knowledge board, their library, and study the product. Typically, every single carrier is going to have all the information you could need in their library. Once you learn your carrier products, that's base knowledge. The next step is, well, you have to develop a pitch. So that's
Mhm.
when you're going to get more into YouTube, seeing how people pitch an indexed an IUL, how they go about that. But without the basic information, the pitch isn't going to work. You need to develop a pitch for every single IUL that you are trying to sell a client because every IUL is different, every pitch is different.
Mike, what is a pitch for the agent that is hearing that and they're like, when you say pitch, are you talking about a close to that agent that doesn't know? What can you explain what a pitch is?
Yeah. So a pitch is a pivot point in the conversation that ultimately reels the client in. You've spoken to them for a little bit. They're kind of intrigued, but you need that pitch, that sales point that really says, that gets them to say, I'm in. That's your pitch. How you frame your sell is your pitch. If you have a good pitch, you're not going to have to really close anybody. They're going to sell themselves. So how you frame and pitch your product is going to be most important. If you have a client that is, I see a lot of people having issues with individuals who are only, oh, I got somebody who's 35. I can't sell these guys, right? That's one of your biggest pitch. They're going to have a very large vehicle compared to most of their other IRAs that they may possibly have with an adjustable ceiling, right? You get to create this massive portfolio that has a very high ceiling for them that they can dump extra funds off on and in retirement utilize that or have liquidity prior to the age of 60. Most other accounts don't do that. In IUL, you can have liquidity before the age of 60 without getting taxed on.
What's the pitch, Mike, for people that are over 60? We often hear,
Yeah.
I can't sell somebody over 60. What do you say to that?
So any pitch over for an individual 60 and above depends on if they're working or not working. If they are still working, you can run a pitch based off of their current. The goal is never in sales, guys. The goal is never to increase someone's bills. You want to find out where they're already spending the money and reallocate the assets. So one of my favorite words to use when I speak to a client of that age is diversify. You need to diversify. You have all your money going into these tax accounts. You need something to protect yourself. You need some kind of tax shelter. In this instance, instead of having to spend 100,000 plus, right? We can do this with monthly contributions and do more of estate planning. Get all your retirement in place to protect yourself. So we're not having to worry about if we get cancer or if we become disabled, your retirement's still protected on that end. And we can use this as a cornerstone piece to make sure that stays in place. And we just reallocate assets. They're spending $600-700 a month for long-term care. Okay, let's reallocate some assets and make some adjustments. And then now we have this in place too.
But Mike, they can't get qualified.
Not a problem. So if somebody can't get qualified for an IUL, what I like to do in those instances, you're still walking away with a sell because there's still that problem of they are not insured. Depends on the severity. But what I like to do if somebody can't qualify for an index universal life policy is convert them to whole life. I explain that basically by telling them now, guys, so an IUL is like a premium account. It grows at a higher interest rate. If we don't get qualified for that, we can still have some around 3 to 4% growth in an account that's lesser. We'll just do a base account. That base account is whole life. So you're selling to somebody anywhere between 25, 50,000, whatever the case might be of whole life. They're putting money in where they can still have cash value in. The money still grows annually for themselves. And it's the same kind of account. And I let them know that if their health gets any better, whatever the case might be, we can always reapply down the road for the more premium account. But at this point in time, we can have this set in place so we don't have to worry about increasing premiums, whatever the case may be.